Hello, my name is Joya Greer. I am a third year in the 5-year MBA program from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and today my pitch deck will be on G Management. G Management is a sports management firm that provides a business network of business professionals to our clients in order to meet their everyday needs. The problem that I focused on and saw the biggest problem within the sports industry is the lack of representation among Black sports agents. For example, in the NBA, 81% of it is made up by Black people or people of color. However, less than that, or less than half of that, is represented by Black sports agents or sports agents of color. Another problem is the lack of educational resources for minority youth interested in a career in sports. So my solution was to create my own sports agency, G Powered G Sports Management, to bring Black ownership to the sports industry, to provide the skill set and negotiation, the soft skills and hard skills in order to be successful within the company and better represent our clients. I also established a foundational aspect to the company, which gives Black minorities of color the opportunity to learn industry skill sets and knowledges in order to be better prepared for the industry and also to connect them with business professionals within the industry, providing them the opportunity to gain knowledge on hard and soft skills needed to be successful. So, G Management teamed up with NASA, and what I was able to accomplish was the decision tree data. And basically, this technology was like a re-implication of already existing data technology for predictions. And so, basically, it takes a decision tree and it takes everything quantitative about information that you've gathered in order to kind of better predict different things and aspects. And I thought this is very beneficial to G Management because with it, we would be able to use it within our business strategy for negotiation contracts for our clients. So when we go in those with those meetings with different teams around the leagues, we can already kind of have a prediction of outcomes that are possible and kind of different reactions or resolutions we can come to based on those decision trees that we gathered. So within that, we'll be able to kind of better prepare ourselves, better prepare our numbers, and kind of match up what our players are able to provide to what the market value is and what the market is looking for. And that just kind of better equips us to have more success. Also, we will be able to use it with potential clients. So when we're going to different college games and scouting and looking for new clientele to take on, we can kind of see the numbers and the different branding that the player already has and match it up to what the market has and what the market is looking for within the professional league in order to decide if we would like to, go further and kind of take on that client or to move on away from the client. The tech would just be great for qualitative data and observations because we would be able to use it on a multitude of levels within the company, whether we're using it on the legal side or whether we're using it on the PR side or whether we're using it on the business negotiation side. We'll be able to kind of easily um, go in and look up any data that we need for on a potential client or a specific client, and we can do it at ease because it's already within our system and it's already integrated with everything we do on an everyday basis. It will be easily added to the company through our IT department, and that way it can help us with the brainstorming portion within the firm. So our target market would be international players, professional athletes, pro prospects on the college level, and minority youth interested in the sports industry. So 25 of our target would be on kind of reach and engage in those communities that has young children or young adults interested in a career in sports, because a large portion of what we want to do is help allocate resources to kind of get those kids started on an earlier track of learning industry nuances and industry skills in order for them to be successful. So that way they kind of have an idea when they go into college, you go into different professional development programs, they can already kind of have an idea what's going on and the opportunities that's out there. And that kind of helps us gauge and get those skill sets early on. On on an international level, that would take up about 10% of our target market, and that is because of the 529 current NBA players, 21.8% is made up of international players. So of that, we figured that 10% of looking for international players to come into our league and come to our program would be a great opportunity to kind of diversify our market as well, but also keeping up with the reality of what our strong suits would be, which moves on to professional athletes. So professional athletes already in the industry that's kind of looking for a new management team, a new management firm. We can kind of target them more and market towards them to kind of bring them in because they already have an established brand, and our job will be going in to kind of just develop them more. Now, the pro college aspect would take up another 30% because that's looking towards the future and developing our future, and our future is our market. So we go in early and we kind of start engaging with those college athletes and kind of engaging and looking at their numbers and seeing who stands out and the different ways that they stand out, and then also kind of already betting early on potential places for them to go within the market, so that way when they do declare, it's an easier transition for them, and we have a plan, a set plan that's made specifically for them. Now, this is just a detailed showing of the NBA, though we will represent other markets from other leagues depending on whatever specialty the associate athletic agents have. But this is what our focus on. And so currently, the WNBA holds 141 players, and the G League holds 150 players. And in men's basketball Division One, 18,816 players are currently playing. However, only 1.2% go pro. And the women's side of it, of 16,509 Division One players within the NCAA as a whole, only about 0.8% of them go pro. And so we totaled that up and we came up with this prospect and gauged our target market to kind of develop a plan that would be beneficial for us to kind of capitalize on business. So on the competitive landscapes, there's different companies, but I wanted to focus on two specifically. So Rich Paul, he's the founder of Clutch Sports. He represents different players like Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and he is a black owned company already. So that would be kind of direct competition of what I'm setting my business plan up on. However, what sets me apart is that aspect of an in-house service and that in-house network that I can provide with having in-house lawyers, PR teams, and just that inner network, and then our outside network as well that's already been vetted and kind of in a partnership with us that we can directly send our clientele to, and they know it's a trusted process. Now, CAA, on the other hand, is an established firm, and the sports agency part of the company is strong. However, what sets us apart again is black owned management, and it's owned by a woman. So you're in a woman's perspective, and we're really diversifying ourselves around that and around our community engagement aspect, and having a whole foundation and a portion of our company resources set up specifically for that, and really doing a direct contact of company outreach and community outreach as a whole. So funding needs. The building of our headquarters and zoning permits within the state. That startup funding can be huge for us in developing that, so that way we have a physical building for us to go and meet with our clients, and so they can gauge and meet the team and meet the people behind them making things happen for them. Even though we will be traveling a lot, having that headquarters establishes us and sets us up to compete on that market level. Accounting for travel expenses, like I mentioned earlier, the sports management industry is a lot of travel, it's a lot of busy schedules, so having that account set aside to take care of our agents and take care of our legal teams when they need to travel and be with our clients in order to do their job better, in order to make the best experience for our client. And that just goes along with raising the venture capital in order to make this happen, for marketing copyrights and our marketing campaigns, to kind of get ourselves out there and just brand and build, and just to use to grow and develop ourselves. So the sales channels would include, it's just this kind of the track that it would go along from a college perspective. Looking at it, if we're going straight from a college student, it would include going to those different college games, recruiting and taking notes, and just kind of seeing, engaging what we were looking for and what we're trying to go through. And from there, we take on clients, and then you set up your agent and client agreement and contracts, and that's that 3% towards commission for the agent based off the player's contract with their team, and then a 3 to 10% commission based on whatever endorsement contract they sign. And then from that, you also have the market of the client, so that's going in developing those connections on the levels with the prospective leads, and just having those contracts set aside, and that's the marketing aspect. And then the additional services are the services by providing the legal or real estate needs that the company or the clients may need, and also connecting them with those other business professionals, and kind of being that middleman in between to make things happen for them. And finally is the internal commission aspect. So we will also take a percentage of the associate sports agents within our company. And it's whatever contract that we sign and come to agreement with when they first come into the company, but it will be a percentage taken from them as well, to kind of go back into the G management as a whole entity itself. So marketing activities will include a YouTube channel for G management, and on that channel we'll have different webinars on a weekly basis, whether it's giving tips to prospective pro athletes on the do's and don'ts, to prepare themselves for the draft, and also to prepare and make sure they're in regulation with the NCAA if they decide to step out and not go pro or not do the combine, making sure they're still eligible to play. Or if they do want to do the combine, making sure they're taking the proper steps in order to prepare. That kind of puts our name and faces out there for those college students, so that way they're like, hey, this is G management. I want to be a part of this organization. They're established, they have a network, and they know what they're talking about. Next would be also our monthly emails that would go to our current clients, so they know that we're there for them, whether it's happy birthdays or whatever it is, just showing that that's that aspect that we're behind them. And then there's the face-to-face engagement, those traveling engagements, and our last is the calls marketing, and that's really based on our foundation. A calls marketing, it's basically the social responsibility of our company, which is really trying to go in and teach those communities about sports management, giving them opportunities to see that, hey, we can do this, and this is our opportunity for us. So the revenue streams, I touched on that earlier. It's the 3%, the 10%, and that secondary income for each company. I talked about that in the previous slide. And this would be a continual base, and it would diversify our revenue. So if a client isn't in a contract year, you're still doing outside services for them, so you're still making in a resource or income, as well as the company as a whole is making in a regular income, because you have different sports managers and sports agents that's also having to pay their percentages of their contracts to the company as it sells. So it's always a running source of income and diversified source of income. So major costs would include the business license and certifications to stay in regulation with each professional league, and whatever state requirements that's necessary within states that you're working in. And then also would be business expenses, including like utilities for electric, water, and just different aspects like that. And then the travel expenses that I talked about earlier. So some milestones would be the completion of creating an LLP for G management within the first 2 months, so I can have it established, it's legal, it's under my name, and no one else can touch it. Within the next 3 to 6 months, we'll be securing capital to kind of build that headquarters and that physical base, like I talked about earlier, so our clients can get the full experience and see the team that's working behind them, and so the team could be under one roof and kind of work coherently together. And then within the first 4 months, I would want to hire a HRBP to start vetting and hiring other associate sports agents to kind of start getting contract negotiations with them, to establish them. So that way, when the company is up and running, we can hit the ground running and have clients set up. But we need those other sports agents and other entities like legal, PR, on hand already in training, and so we can build that company culture. And within the first year, I would like to start our preliminary operations. So basically, that's meeting and sitting down with clients. Now, we might not be writing contracts yet, but we're building those relationships so that way when we are up and running fully, we can already have that process out the way and they know us, and we can start running and building that network. So the teams would be like I talked about earlier. The founder would be myself. I would be a practicing sports agent. Also running the day-to-day operations of the company. Next would be the associates, which would include the other sports agents that's underneath me. It would also include the community foundation aspect and just bringing in those different business professionals on a weekly basis for the students and for the community interested in learning more about sports management and the sports industry. And the other would be the in-house business professionals like the lawyers and PR teams that's available for our clients that's under our house and a part of G management. The support staff would include your everyday IT, marketing department, and legal team for the company, G management as itself and as an entity representing the company. And the network would include the outside business personnel and everything that they need and everything they need to get done. They work with us alongside more like a partnership, and we just vet them so that way our clients don't have to worry about it, and we can be the middleman brokeraging a relationship between them and still get a portion of it. And partnership and resources, a big portion would be that front office personnel within the NBA and MLB, because you need those relationships in order to get good contracts and get behind the scenes information of what's going on so you can better prepare yourselves for your client. And then you need local and national brands like Nike, Adidas to give opportunities outside of sports for your clients to build their brand up even more, to build more capital for them. And lastly would be business professionals to build that outer network outside of the entity itself of G management. So that way we can build that big network that we're kind of grounding ourselves on and marketing ourselves and diversifying ourselves with. And that is all. I thank you again for listening. And this was G management. Have a nice day.